Hello. Now we're going to talk about how to make a sort of collection of scenes to create the overall flow of a show. So obviously there's different ways of doing it, different approaches, but this is a space where you can also bring your own creativity and your own kind of energy into using this software. So if I'm going to do a broadcast, so say I was setting up a stream, I'd probably, for a variety of reasons, you're generally going to want to start your stream, start your broadcast a bit before the main content arrives. Kind of the same thinking or the same concept as doors at a music concert opening before the acts actually start playing. You want to give people time to show up, time to log on, log in, and also time to make sure that on your end that everything's going all right, that the internet's stable, that you're not going to run into any hiccups that way. So you generally want some kind of pre-show screen. Ideally, depending on your resources and stuff, in an ideal world, often you'll want to make that a video, and you'll want to make sure that there's audio with it too, so that when people log on to your stream, so they go to your Twitch or your Vimeo page or wherever you're streaming to, they can see and hear that it's working on their end. So you want to give them feedback in that sense. So today we have just a static image, but that's fine. We will bring some audio into that. So as you see, I created a bunch of scenes earlier just to save us time. To create a scene, you go to this plus button here, and then you enter the name of your scene. I've just been numbering my scenes for today, but you can come up with whatever naming system you prefer. Just remember that names are unique in OBS. So if you name a scene something, you can't name the source the same thing. So I've got scene 1. It's blank right now. That's fine. So we're going to go to sources, and we're going to bring in a source. So scene 1 is going to be my intro scene, my intro screen. So I'm going to bring in the image that we prepared earlier. You can bring in lots of different image types. Almost every file type is supported. But again, using standard file types like PNG or JPEG is always a good move, safe move. So I'm going to call this the intro slide. And I'm going to create it. So now it lets me find the image I want to use. Here it is. And we're going to say open. All right, as you see, once again, it's not the same aspect ratio, same size as my screen, so I'm going to just want to make it full screen. So I'm going to go Control F, it's going to center it and full screen. As you can see, there's a little bit of a border here, a little bit of like a gray border on the edges, kind of letterboxing. So say I wanted to play with that, there is a way to do that. If you see these, so you have these markers around the image, and you've got these squares on those markers. So those are like articulation points. So if you press Alt while you're moving your cursor, you can crop an image while it's on the screen. And so then I've created black all around. It's perfectly black. It looks great. All right, so that's using Alt and the cursor on any of these squares that represent a place where you can articulate your picture. So we brought in the slide, it's intro slide, your event title, the event will begin shortly. So people, when they log on, they see this, they're like, okay, I'm in the right place, yes. Maybe you want a little house music playing so that they can hear that their audio is working. That's usually a good idea. So for this, I'm going to use Application Audio Capture. I'm going to click that. And you could also technically use Audio Output Capture. But the application Audio Capture will allow you to collect audio from specifically one source, while the Audio Output Capture will just pick up all of the audio that your computer is sending out. So it's sometimes a little cleaner to use Application Audio Capture. So I'm going to call it intro music. And I'm going to go here. I'm going to pick an audio. I'm just going to pull up a Bandcamp on the Bandcamp here. And I'm going to pull in the audio from Bandcamp. So if I go here, it says something else because that's the other window, but I want to pull from Firefox, so I'm going to click Firefox. I'm going to click OK. And theoretically, if we are playing over here and I make this in the program scene, so it's live, cut. Sorry, I was a hotkey I pressed started it recording even though I didn't want it to. So you can see now that the VU comes in and it's getting sound. You can see that it's a bit loud. So one of the things that is good with OBS is you can control the level of your sound signal coming in. So I'm just going to pull this back so it's not going over -15. And then, yeah, to the viewers at home, they would be able to listen and see the screen. They'll know the show's coming. That's great. So obviously, that's just the intro. The next scene I want to create is going to be, say, the main part of the show, or the introduction to the show. So I'm going to do what I did in the previous video or what I did before and bring in a video capture device. So once again, you go to sources, you add a new source, you go down to video capture device, you want to name it something. I'm going to call it Webcam, and you're going to bring in the USB camera. Okay, and then I'm going to Control F to make it full screen. Great. And now I'm also going to bring in an audio input capture. So this will be the audio. I'm going to use my computer microphone, but you can use your audio interface or another a USB microphone, and this is going to be audio that goes into the computer. So audio input capture, I'm going to call this computer mic, and I'm going to say OK, and I'm going to pick the computer microphone. Theoretically, if you did have a variety of microphones or an audio interface, you could use both the computer microphone and your other interfaces in different use cases, in different situations, should you need multiple sort of different kinds of audio coming in. But for now, we're just going to use this. So just for testing purposes, I'm going to transition to scene 2 to see if that audio is coming in. And look, yes, the audio is coming in and it's not clipping, and that's great. So we've got scene 1, we've got scene 2, now it's time for scene 3. So scene 3, I'm going to show some little videos. So there's two different ways that you can bring videos in, and they have different merits, different usefulnesses. So the first is through media source. So I'm in sources again, I'm on scene 3, I'm in sources, scene 3 selected, sources. I'm going to click the plus button, I'm going to go to media source. I'm going to call this video 1. I'm not very creative with the names today, my apologies. So local file, yes, as you can see, we can go into this browse, and now it's giving me some video files. So I'm going to pick this one, and I'm going to check these settings here. So you can have loop, so that will, if you select loop, that will make sure that the video constantly plays. Restart playback when source becomes active. So this is, you may or may not want this. This will mean that when the source goes live, so when you transition that source from the preview to the program, the video will start automatically, but it will always start at the beginning. So if you want to be able to start and stop a video as you transition from scenes, so say you were showing a video, but you were also talking about it perhaps, you could unselect that, and that way I could go between this screen of me talking, the webcam scene, and the video, and it would pause while I was talking, and then when I went back, it would pick it up from that point, instead of going all the way back to the beginning of the video. For our use now, restart playback when source is active is good. We don't want it to loop. You can adjust the speed of the video if you want it to play more slowly. It's a pretty short video. I don't think we're going to need to worry about any of that. But those are some of the things that you can do using the media source interface. And so I'm going to say OK. So now the video's in, and you might be wondering, oh, well, where is the video? Because it's not showing up here in the preview. So to get the video to start, again, it'll trigger when I transition to that particular scene. So if I click cut here, then the video appears, it starts playing, it is live. So that is great. So we've got a video. So if we were doing a show, you know, a stream, actual broadcast, we've got an intro, we have a spot for the host to talk and give an introduction, or, I mean, in other situations, if you're doing a capture of an artist performing, this would be the camera capturing that performance, and then we have a scene where we play a video. And finally, so that's one way of mounting a video. We have the scene where they're playing a video. So now we're in scene 4. Here's another way of mounting a video. So if we go back into our list of sources, you see there's VLC video source. So if I go down to VLC video source, there, and I'm going to call this video collection. So in VLC video source, you'll see the options for controlling the video are different. So one of the advantages, depending on what you're doing that might be interesting, is you can, using VLC video source, you can put together like a playlist of videos that will play one after the other, or you can even shuffle the playlist. So that's a different kind of tool, and it can be useful if you're trying to load multiple videos. If you go down here, playlist, so I pick add, and I add files, or if you have all your video files already together in one folder, you can just add the directory or add the path URL. I'm going to still select add files. I'm going to add that file, and then I'm going to add another file, which is the same one we had before. Again, you have here visibility behavior. So this determines what is going to happen to the videos when they're not in the program screen. So when they're in preview or you're just not using them. So when it's not visible, the video will stop, and then it will restart when visible, or pauses when not visible and unpauses when visible, or always plays even when it's not visible. So those are your options. I'm going to pick pause when not visible, unpause when visible, and click OK. Again, to look at the videos, we're going to want to pull them over. Oh, you could see there so we're back in preview, but one of the videos is kind of a weird size. So if we want to adjust that, you still, the same way as always, Control F, and then also you have the Alt, you can crop. Anyhow, so that is how you could put a collection of videos, a playlist of videos, if you will, that will play on a loop together. Also, you notice the audio mixer is going. When you have a video file, if the video file has audio, it'll automatically pull that audio, and that'll appear in the audio mixer. Again, these look like they're playing a bit loud, so I'm just going to pull it down a little bit. Yeah, and then finally, say I wanted to add not just one image, but a collection of images to play as a slideshow. So this can be another option. So I don't want just the intro slide alone. Maybe I'm going to go back here. I'm like, maybe I want some movement. So I'm going to add a image slideshow. And so image slideshow, I'll call this intro slideshow. And so, yeah, that's fine. Again, you have these different options. I'm going to say that the slides change over really fast. And say, okay. But you're wondering, probably, how do I pick which slides I want to go in? So again, cancel. That's a good question. So here is, similar to with the VLC video source, here is where you can add a grouping of image files that will operate as a slideshow. So I'm going to still use this one, but maybe I will use some of these other ones from other pictures we've taken from around the space. Okay, and these are weird size. So you might notice that they're showing on top of the original intro slide. So the order that sources appear in the list here determines their order that they are layered on top of each other. So we have the intro slide show is on top of the intro slide. And I'm just going to actually get rid of the intro slide completely. So to get rid of a source, you highlight it, and then you just click this little trash can. Are you sure you want it? Yes. Okay. And now the slideshow, I'm just going to resize it. It doesn't want me to let me resize it. Okay. That's fine. It's a bit letterboxed, but we can survive. And finally, I'm going to, if you say had credits or something that you wanted to set up, you could go to color source here. Say we want to credit background. Say we wanted to create something like that. So you just select a color from this color wheel. Let's go with hot pink. That's a fun color. Okay. Takes up the whole screen. That's great. And then I want to add some text. So I'm going to open this text. I'm going to call this credit text. And I'm just going to, it's going to give me this option here. And I just type in text. You can also have pre-typed in your text in any kind of like RTF format, and you can add a file, a text file, if you've had it pre-typed in. But I'm just going to say the end by CDAH. So you can change your fonts in here. You can change the color of the font. You have a lot of kind of all of your standard text options. And you can make it all uppercase, all lowercase, or standard. So there we go. I am going to move this, so by clicking on where the text is, I can move it around as you would in any graphic software. So that's how you can create a quick little credits page. So now you're probably wondering how to smoothly transition between all of these different things. So let's say so this is where your hotkeys come in. So if I go to settings here, now when I go down to hotkeys, you see there is a switch to scene option for each of my scenes. So I have scene 1, and I'm going to assign it to number 1. Scene 2, I'm going to assign it to number 2. Assign scene 3, 3. You get the idea. Showing slightly different things because I'm using the number pad on a keyboard that has it mapped a bunch of ways, but it should work fine. So now, this is where you maybe want to go out of, you might conceivably want to leave studio mode. So I'm at the beginning, scene 1 is playing, people are coming in, okay, it's ready to start the show. Hey, here I am, I'm going to do the show, everything's great. Scene 3, oh, here's the videos, they're playing, the first video's playing, that's great. Oh, here's our collection of videos that's playing through, our 2 videos on a loop, and then finally, the end. And so that's how you can create a basic kind of setup for a run of show. Also, if you leave it in studio mode, you can always make updates as the show is running. So say maybe one of the videos is playing and you want to change the credits. I can manipulate the credits, I can change the text, and it won't happen live until it goes to program. All right, thank you very much. That's the basics of how to create a full show with OBS.